Jay's getting ready to do some window trim today. I'm gonna do a little house reset because it's the very beginning of the week and we're trying to start our week off nice. So he picked up some wood down at the depot. He's gonna trim out our little office window. Boop, 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 boop. So it'll be really nice when he's done.
I'll give you a little view on what I do here. So I'm trying to get things really precise. And what I usually do is come in here and I'll measure off here over and I'll mark something that's easy, 10. So I'll make a mark on 10 there. Then what I'll do is I'll spin this around. Now spin this thing around, butt up against here, and then come over, and there's my mark for 10. So I take 25 plus 10, which is 35, and so normally that'd be 9/16 there, but I'm going to back it up to the half to make it easy. So 35 and a half will be my sill width. So now I'm just going to kind of get the depth of this. So I know how this sill's got to go by. I want 6 7/8 on the right, 6 1/4 on the left. So I have to measure these like that, and then I have to have a 2 1/4 inch overhang because there's a piece of trim that goes up underneath here, and then we still want a little bit of overhang there. And then what I usually do is I usually cut it real long, make sure that it fits in here, cut it real long, and then when I come back to do my trim, I'll measure the reveal, the trim, and then the overhang, and I'll adjust it there. And then take that out and go cut it. We'll see. So with this kind of work, you can't guarantee that the end of the boards are square, even though these are finished boards. They're supposed to be what they call S4S, square on 4 sides. They're good for trim work. Actually straight. This edge is not actually straight. So we gotta remedy that. So I know that I do have a cutout here because I have a piece that has to hang over, to accept the trim on the outside of the window. So I'm just going to come in several inches. I think it's about 4 inches. I think I'm going to come over like 6. I'm going to come over 6 inches just to give me some play. So you see, I left myself 6 inches from here when I only need like 4. I'll end up trimming this a little bit. But I want to have enough room, and to get started, I start on this edge. I square up this edge, and then I come over about 6 inches, so I know I have plenty to work with. And then I do a line across here, a straight line, to mark where this is going to get cut out to fit in my window, and this will hang outside of the window. And then I know I have a 2 1/4 inch overhang. I know I have a 2 1/4 inch overhang, so I mark out 2 1/4, and I come over, and so all this gets cut out to accept my window. And then now what we got to do is we got to go from this mark over our internal dimension to get started on the other side. So we'll set that on the line there. We'll mark over 35 and a half there. Just remeasure in a couple different ways just to verify. And because this is a trim board, I'm not going to cut all the way through. I'm going to cut till the top of my saw reaches my corner, and I'll come in with another hand saw and saw that straight because I want this to be a nice cut. Now, I do want it to be a bit of a tight fit, so. I do have a gap here because I have not ripped this back to be to the two different depths that I had here, because I had a difference here and here. Very snug here, very snug here. So now we'll go out and we'll do the measurement. This measurement here, so we can back it off here. Do this measurement here, so we can back it off here. We'll have a line back there. Now that we know this fits. Look at all this man glitter. Woo! All right, so now we're flush against the wall. Flush against the wall, flush against the window, all the way down, flush against the window, flush against the wall. And we're gonna have some more trim that covers this up. So tiny little gaps like this. So see, oh, that's fine. Some of this is gonna get cut off. So we have a good fit. We have the windowsill that's gonna stick out, but now what we need to do is we need to get the rest of the casing. So we're gonna get this piece, the top piece, and then this piece over here to match. But these will not hang out. These will be flush with the wall. So they will need to be cut flush with the wall to sit in here, because this is just to cover up this junk. And then we'll have trim that sits on the outside here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get measurements for this top and get that thing cut, get that in place, make sure it fits good, and then we'll get these side ones in. So now, to get these side edges, I'll do a measurement top and bottom on both sides, and then I'll minus off, that's 3/4 and 3/4, which is 1.5 inches together. So I'll do a full measurement and then back off 1.5 inches. So I'll show you what I had to do here. Since I can't get both pieces out of this board, I'm gonna make sure I can get really one good piece. So on this end, we noticed we got home that it's got a little split in it, so I don't, and it's all the way through, so I don't want to use this. And then when you come up here, it's got a gouge out right here. All right, so neither one of those are optimal. So I need 46 inches. So what I decided to do was I hung that off the end and looked here, and 46 is way past this. So I backed the 46 up as far as I can go to where I'm just shy of this nick here. And I came down here and just made an arbitrary mark that's past this split. So what I'll do is I'll trim this off and then I'll remeasure 46, so then I'll have the best of this board. I have a little burr on the edge there that I gotta get rid of. See ya. It's hard to see. You can see it's got a line here. It's got a line here. It's got a hole here. Got another line here. Saw marks where they cut it. So this would not be the ideal outside. So we're gonna look at this side. Got a knot here, but the knot's pretty sealed up. We can fill that with paint. Everything looks good. So this is gonna be my outer edge. So I'm gonna write on this side. So we'll just say these are both the same. We'll just say this is the left, right? And then I will have to trim one edge off. So probably be this edge here. We've got a couple imperfections here, kind of hard to see. It's getting nitpicky, but this is trim. So I'm gonna have to trim this anyway. So I'm gonna trim this side. So if I trim this side and this is the left side, that means this will be the window side. And so I'll just write that on here. Window, room. So when I go to orientate this thing, I'll know the written side goes on the inside, where this is what you see. And the window goes on this edge, the room's over here, and this edge will get trimmed off. Room. So, right, window will be on this side, the room will be on this side, and that way we trim that off. So now we gotta go inside. We gotta stick them up in the window and mark where we trim it. What I do is just mark where the wall is, and then I'll cut it just in case the wall's not straight, because we built this, and again, I'm not a carpenter. And no matter what Lindsay says, she's not a carpenter either. So now we have the sill done, we have the top casing done, we have the two side casings done. Yeah, so now we should move on to some trim. That was a long dramatic pause, is what that was. Actually dry fit it. So the sill is still in there. We'll take the 3 casing boards and let's go. Mark. I'll make a little bitty mark Like a little bitty hash mark where that's gonna go. And then we want an inch from that. There's extra overhang. So then I mark that. We'll do the same to the other side. And then also what we'll do is we'll measure from the bottom of this to the top of this, which is the same measurement of that, which was 46. We'll add a 1/4 inch to it. And that when it sits down here, it'll go a 1/4 inch up, which will give us the 1/4 inch reveal all the way across. So when we put the trim up, that's the little mark that I made there. And then I measured an inch out, so the trim will come up to here, and then we'll have an inch overhang on the sill. We did that on both sides. So here's my little mark, and then there's my inch mark. So this is going to be the mark that I cut. Okay, so these are 1x4. Which it's not really 1x4, they're 3/4 by 3.5. All right, so for our 2 vertical trims, we had 46 in there, but I want a 1/4 inch reveal on the top, so it's 46 1/4. So I'm gonna cut 2 46 1/4. Trim that goes across the top needs to be the same width as this, which is 43.5. Everything cut, and the one thing that I didn't film was the under trim that goes under this, which we're staining the same color. That's just more of the same. Just trimmed it. All I did was measure 1 inch in over here and 1 inch in over here, because that'll be where the trim lies and where we want this to come even with the trim that comes down. Measured that, cut it, sanded it, ready to go. Got it marked. So we're gonna get these 2 stained up. Boat number 1. All right, we got all the paint dry, got all the stain dry, so let's get this thing put in and nailed in. Using some long nails here. Okay, so what I'm doing is some of the nails didn't set, and so I have this little punch. You can set the nails a little bit deeper if they don't go all the way. I mean the sill encasing, so now we'll work on the trim. All right, so on the trim we want a 1/4 inch reveal around here. So I'm gonna go ahead and mark a 1/4 inch down here and a 1/4 inch over here on both sides. So we're gonna install this in a 1/4 inch reveal. And when we were looking at these reveals here, what I did is I measured from the bottom here to the underside of the header and added a 1/4 inch for the length of these. So when I do my top one, it sits a 1/4 inch from my reveal. Now what I usually do is try to center it up to measure each side what I have hanging over. So over here I have an inch, and over here I have 5/8 of an inch. So here's the window. And this is the reveal, 1/4 inch reveal we have going all the way around. And the windows come pre-done with the reveal in here. Now, what I do next is go around with silicone and get all these little holes and all these little gaps in between the gaps here. We got these nail holes covered up, but what about the nail holes here? Fill stick. So it's like a little waxy little stick. And then we'll get a little bit of cleaner. Clean this stuff off real quick for Lindsey. That's why I want to hear about it. I'm like, I can get that waxy stuff off. And after all that, some of you may have been wondering, what's that sticking in the window? Well, that's our internet. That's our Starlink coming in from the satellite up there. Coming in, and we got it sitting right here. Because I didn't know what else to do right now. And so I got some of this stuff that came with our, water heater. And I trimmed it up where it would fit in the window here. Left me a little groove right here, where that line can come in through there. This can stay closed and I don't get a draft through here. And then I had my handy dandy rag up here so the air didn't come through up top. So the only thing left that I have to do is I have to get some clear silicone and go around where the stained wood meets the painted wood here. I have to go around here and seal that off. But I don't have any, so I can't do that. But I gotta do that to all the windows, so I'll probably just wait until I get the windows done, and then I'll get some of that stuff and I'll come around and I'll just do them all at once. And that'll be the final little thing. And so now I can get the curtains up in here because it's so bright in my office. All right, one down, and then next weekend I'm going to do the 2 bedrooms over there and over there, the kids' bedroom, the bedroom we're in, and then I'm going to leave the kitchen window undone until we figure out what we're going to do. I was going to do that one, and then I got to thinking about the trim. I was just like, well, I just don't do the trim around it because we don't know if we're doing tile backsplash or what. Then I was thinking about the sill here. It has to extend outside the window, which will get into the tile stuff. So I was like, well, I can't even do that. So I was like, you know what, I'll just forego that kitchen window for now until we get to do the kitchen, and then we'll just take it up there. So as far as this house, I got the 2 living room windows done. I got this office window done. And so the only windows I have are the 2 bedrooms. I'm gonna do those just like this one. And that's it. Thanks for watching. Bye.